I'm Tony Cooper, and welcome to my first dev diary for Time Scavengers. Time Scavengers is a narrative game set in space about a delivery transport driver who is one of only a few dozen people who survive a cataclysmic corpo war for a distant planet far from Earth. They now spend their time hunting through the wreckage of the battlefield for supplies to try and keep the disparate group alive until help arrives. It's currently a prototype as I work through setting up the basic game systems and figuring out the assets I'll be using. So, here's what I've done so far. The first thing I did was to set up the Unity project with GameKit Controller, a brilliant framework that does a lot of the donkey work for you, in that it has a character controller, weapons and inventory systems, interaction systems, so much stuff. In fact, it's so fully featured, it does take some time to learn, but that time is nothing compared to the time you would have to spend making all this stuff from scratch. As part of setting things up, I imported Playmaker, which is a state tree visual scripting system. I've been using this for years for setting up all my game logic, because while that might be many things, I'm not a programmer. And the last part of the setup was importing all the Cinti assets I have, because I'm no 3D artist either. Their polygon sci-fi packs in particular were just what I needed for this project. So with all that done, I started creating the various gameplay logic I needed for the game. And so far these include character transitions, which meant I had to delve into Blender to set this up so it would work, but I now have multiple skinned meshes set up on the character itself so that I can swap between casual wear and spacesuit on the fly. I also spent ages deep in the Unity Cinemachine system, linking it to GameKit Controller to create first-person chair sit-down and stand-up cutscenes. And the final transitions were between first and third person on leaving your ship by Airlock and entering a wreck where it goes back into first person. Speaking of airlocks, that was the next biggest task. I want the game to feel grounded despite the bizarre setting, so having the player's ship be functional and usable in that way, and making getting in and out of the ship a process the player has to go through, albeit a condensed one, it was important. So now there's a whole little mini procedure to follow to suit up, disable gravity, and then use the airlock tunnel to go outside into space. The next task was setting up the cutting tool, as one of the mechanics is the player can cut free ship components they're looking for. I used an existing GameKit controller weapon for this, gave it infinite ammo, set up a support beam with health that can be destroyed. Linked to that was the grabbable solar panel. GameKit Controller already has a grabbing holding system, so I set that up on the solar panel object. The biggest challenge was setting up the transition from the solar panel being locked in place to floating in zero gravity once attached, but I did finally get that working after quite a bit of hassle. Then I did a little test animation of the player's ship docking with a larger vessel, mainly for a bit of fun, but I also needed to learn how to keep the player character moving with the ship as it animated, which was another fun challenge that I'm more or less happy I've got sorted, but I will need to do some more work there. I also made a start modelling the player's ship. I started using a Cinti polygon dropship model, as that was closest to what I needed, but I'm still editing it and sorting out the insides. Outside of those main tasks, I've done lots of tweaks to the character controller itself for movement and abilities, created test blockouts for the player's ship and some of the space wrecks, and did quite a bit of learning on ProBuilder, UModeler and Blender modelling tools for the character, ship and just all general modelling needs. And that is the stage of the prototype at the moment. You can walk around inside the ship, sit down the controls, pop a spacesuit on and head out into the void and dismantle a satellite for parts. There's a whole bunch of work still to be done, but I'll go over that in the next video. Away from Unity itself, I set up an itch page for the game which has some more info, including text dev logs if you're interested in those, and I'm on most of the socials, sharing screens and updates there too. The links for all of those are in the description. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.